Bam Leute und herzlich willkommen zurück zu Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Am letzten Tag der Investigation nach diesem Trial, nach diesem vorletzten Trial, wo wir herausgefunden haben, dass es noch einen weiteren Zwischenfall gab. Jetzt sind wir schon bei 3. Und zwar im Evidence Room. Gab es scheinbar vorher noch eine Auseinandersetzung mit Goodman. Und das dem wollen wir doch jetzt mal nachgehen. Ich glaube übrigens, irgendwas ist mit deiner Stimme nicht ganz in Ordnung. Keine Ahnung. Vielleicht bin ich erkältet. Ich weiß es nicht. Egal. Kann sein, dass ich mich ein paar Mal räuspern muss. So wie jetzt. Tut mir leid. Ja. Von daher. Let's go. Ach, und Windows meldet sich auch direkt wieder. Immer schön perfekt zum Aufnahmestart. Jetzt aktualisieren. Nee, dankeschön. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings, but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? Tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. Didn't see that one coming. Ja, dann lass mal hören. Räusper. Ich wusste es. Es wird passieren. Ich entschuldige mich nochmal im Voraus. Es wird wahrscheinlich noch öfter passieren. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then... What happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. Permanent picture? Ja, dann erzähl mal ein bisschen was darüber. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of his poor girl. This, nicht his. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently, I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. No. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just couldn't come out. I her a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. Find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana could never have to forge any... I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. There's still something that bothers me about that crime. Was then after the incident. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana... why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. Something puzzling. Something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor. Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. Why did you run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? Better have another talk with her. Also danach wurde sie quasi befördert. Okay. Batterieleistung lässt nach? Nein, bitte nicht. Lass mich nicht im Stich. Das ist doof. Kann ich theoretisch auch nur mit einem? Ich hoffe, die hält noch durch. Ja, dann moven wir mal. Und ansonsten müssen wir, keine Ahnung, irgendwie improvisieren. Vielleicht kriege ich das irgendwie anders hin. Detention Center. Wollen wir mal mit Lana talken. Lana! Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana. Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever! They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. You should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Alles klar, dann machen wir das. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Ich mach mal, währenddessen wir hier reden, lade ich mal meinen anderen Controller auf, weil den brauche ich gerade nicht. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall left their guards down, then fled the room. From there he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, hmm? I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But the case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced of the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. The case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe you should have a look at the Chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Alles klar. Dann grab ich mal meinen anderen Controller wieder. Und die Batterieleistung lässt wieder nach. Dann würde ich sagen, gehen wir erstmal in Criminal Affairs Department. Gucken, ob da was abgeht. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kinda quiet around here today. You're right. Chief of Detectives seems the same though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Alright, we can come back here later. Alles klärchen. Müssen ja mal gucken, ne? So, zum Entrance.
Howdy, Bambina.
Oh, Mr. Marshall.
I never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera sera.
Keine Ahnung, wie man das ausspricht. Und was für eine Sprache das ist.
You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning.
Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Oh. Say, where are you headed?
Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but all we know, I won't be coming back. Sorry, you can't go in the evidence room today, Parma.
But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it?
Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one.
Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened?
Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today.
Das ist natürlich schade, ne?
Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so.
What do you mean, fishy?
Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon.
The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip?
That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
A question?
The blade of the knife was not the perfect match with the wound the victim sustained.
What does that mean?
It means there is a good chance that knife is not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased.
Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? Wahrscheinlich.
That case left behind scars on all of us.
Scars that the SL9 incident left behind.
There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation save one was taken care of. The star was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him, too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? What are you talking about? I get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant, an honest guy. Investigation lead Damon Gant and his second in command, an honest guy. There wasn't a person on their force who hadn't heard of the duo. The case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Scar was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret? It all started 2 years ago. I got the looks, but he got the brains. Also, he was one of the best prosecutors around.
Also, das mit den Looks.
I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day.
The highest honor? You mean the...
King of Prosecutors. I knew it. What were you looking at me like that for? It's an honor for a prosecutor.
Kurz Headset nochmal neu richten. Mr. Marshall must have really been close to his brother.
The day of the SL9 incident took place. That wasn't the same day as... That's right, it was the day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. Can't believe 2 years ago. 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die.
Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered and the evidence lock was empty.
So, there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner?
It was certainly enlightening. Wegen dem Thunderstorm. Enlightening.
There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy.
Natürlich nicht. He's a good boy.
He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. Someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone was Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Oh, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina.
Oh. Okay, dann gehen wir mal ins Prosecutor Office. Da hieß Angel Star wieder hier. No one's here today, not even Miss Star.
Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. I must be where the detectives are.
We proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15.
Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case.
But instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty.
Hang in there, Lana.
I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Alrighty, können wir von hier aus in... Nee, wir können ins High Prosecutor Office. Mr. Atroff hier? Mr. Atroff isn't here. Das beantwortet meine Frage. Danke, Emma. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee. Took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. Guess I'll just have to come back later. Wie komme ich denn in das Office? Ich gehe mal in unser Büro. Move. Police Department Entrance. Da können wir auch nicht dahin, ne? Criminal Affairs. Ach, jetzt passiert plötzlich was, okay. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. No, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. The chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do. About Mr. Ashruff, not to mention her statement to the media tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right, you can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Alright. Oh, da ist die Orgel. Wir haben sie gefunden. Ach, schön. Ein Foto? Whoa, where am I? The chief's office, silly. At least, that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. It's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until... Sehr unauffällig, Emma. Sehr unauffällig. I never could remember where C was. Oh, it's you too! Chief Gant! Put a paper he was reading in his desk. So, Rido, have you been swimming lately? Was ist mit dir und dem Kack Schwimmen? Hast du einen Fetisch für Schwimmen? Oh, no, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies! See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil and me. Ich sehe gerade was im Hintergrund. Das ist die Vase, die wir in unserem Court Record haben. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Die Vase, ne? Gant team picture, photo at the awards ceremony of Gant, Lana and Neil. Okay. Hello? Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? The case has long since been over, there's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me? I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out, I have a meeting to attend. Ja, überhaupt nicht verdächtig. Hust, hust.
Looks like we aren't welcome.
Seems the case isn't over with yet after all.
What do you mean?
Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there.
You mean like a clue?
There's got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Let's move. Vielleicht weiß Edgeworth was darüber. Vielleicht ist er jetzt da. Moment. Gucken wir direkt mal. Edgeworth ist doch bestimmt darüber Bescheid. Wenn man da reinkommt. Nee, er ist nicht da. Okay. Anderer Plan. Wir gehen zu Lana. Okay. Haben wir eigentlich was bekommen an Evidenz? Wir haben das Foto bekommen. Ah, okay. Gut, ja, dann zeigen wir ihr das mal.
Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside court. It's taboo, especially when the interests of both parties are involved. She really means it.
Lana. Okay. Ist doch nur ein Foto von dir. Sag doch mal was dazu. Na dann gehen wir mal zur Polizei wieder. Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department.
Oh, hey pal! Detective Gumshoe, are you supposed to be in a meeting?
I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt.
From sitting so long?
Actually, from serving everyone coffee.
Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop.
Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth?
Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask?
He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you and two in court.
That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said?
That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood.
Yikes.
Edgeworth's crisis. Oh yeah. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Oh. Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they presented in court. And not only that. But as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as the prosecutor kept him safe from those who didn't like him. But now with this...
Are there really so many people who hate him?
In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe for... I know of for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Sein Name ist einfach... ist einfach Legende. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. I'd rather some pressure. I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just may crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier with the coffee was brewing, while the coffee was brewing. He was generally concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Jake Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall who was trying to protect some girl?
Me.
Seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all.
Well, what was it?
Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress.
Maybe you should show him the murder weapon.
It might jog his memory. For yeah? Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman.
Businessman? What made him take us to serial killing? And then, on his way home from the work, he hit someone with his car.
With his car? So, it was an accident?
An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal.
An animal?
He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who... A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too.
Hallo, nicht automatisch.
Chuck him around the scene of the crime as well. Finally, he turned himself in.
Ja, jetzt wartest du. Seems he was pretty careless. A pretty careless animal.
Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence.
So, he turned himself in.
Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. The crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed.
The last witness, ja. A.k.a. Emma. So, wir sollen dir die Murder Weapon zeigen. Die vielleicht Murder Weapon. Wir haben ja herausgefunden, es passte nicht ganz. About this.
Hey, is that...
There's a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of.
What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker.
On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, it suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Ashroff's car's muffler.
That's it! Now remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When he showed me that knife, it all came back to me.
Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again! Alright. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it?
That's alright. We traced it back to the store. He bought it, plus it had his fingerprints on it too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at that knife, you see it's broken.
You don't have to take a good look to notice that.
Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in.
Where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound.
Did it match Dark's knife?
You bet. Down to the last fiber.
That's pretty conclusive. Aber die Wunde hat ja eben scheinbar nicht gepasst. Trotzdem war das Stück da drin. Vielleicht wurde es einfach nur geplantet. Wie auch immer man das plantet. Ein Stück abgebrochene Klinge in einer Wunde. Na gut. So schwierig dürfte es wahrscheinlich nicht sein, ne? Neil's autopsy report. Stabbed in the back, okay. Died from punctured heart and lung. Herz und Lunge wurden durchstochen. The knife tip was in the wound. Aber warum ist... Es macht halt keinen Sinn, warum das Messer beim Erstechen abbricht. Ein Messer bricht nicht einfach ab. Nee, das macht irgendwie keinen Sinn. Switchblade knife updated. The broken tip was found in the victim's body. Belonged to the murderer Joe Dark.
Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know.
Can I ask you one more thing?
What is it? If it's money you should ask Chief Gant.
It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now and his office is locked. Would you like to have a look around if that's okay?
Well, a detective's ID card can unlock the door.
Okay. Seems legit. What? Really?
But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'll be canned.
Oh.
Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. Wollte ich auch gerade sagen.
That won't work either. The data was deleted that day he died.
Oh.
Oh.
So, in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Nicht moven. Senden. Das können wir ihnen zeigen. Wir haben das Foto.
Let me share a little advice with you as a detective. If you don't have a clue, keep your trap shut.
I'll keep that in mind.
Sheesh.
Okay, kann ich dir das nochmal zeigen?
I've been studying up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Ashworth's presentation. I think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal.
You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth?
Yeah. It was a pretty big deal while it was going on, you know? After all, serial killer was on the loose.
But Lana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. Kann ich dir das zeigen?
Can't believe Officer Marshall would do something like that.
Do you know Officer Marshall?
Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus.
Really?
He said, Dick, you should listen to all your troubles.
Oh. Okay. Note to self, Detective Gumshoe talks to Cactus.
Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone out to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Naja, er wird gefeuert. Dem kannst du wahrscheinlich nichts anfangen. Evidence Locker, das ist ja alles schon vorbei. Kennen Sie den Screwdriver vielleicht? Wir wissen immer noch nicht, was mit dem auf sich hat. Nee. Sheesh.
That's a D-card record, isn't it?
Yes, there's only one number left to investigate at 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive officer number. That's 1/7 too many, Detective. Executive officer, I just might have a hunch. Tja. Wer das wohl sein wird. Haben wir ihn mir schon gezeigt? Bla bla bla. Ich glaube, davon wird dich nichts mehr interessieren. Vielleicht noch das Messer. The King of Prosecutors können wir nochmal zeigen. Das haben wir, glaube ich, schon.
What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? Wait, I mean, sure, of course, someone else really did it. Someone who must have had a grudge against Mr. Edgeworth. Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day.
Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe?
Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself.
Aha, congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken? Ich glaube, das hatten wir schon, die Unterhaltung.
Oh, there's the reason. I'll tell you what it is later.
Apparently is forgotten. Ja, die hatten wir schon. Okay, ich glaube, wir haben noch nicht das richtige Stück, um ihm zu zeigen. Wir gehen mal woanders hin. Wie wär's mit dem Detention Center? Haben wir auch nichts, ne? Wir haben ja nichts Neues bekommen. Ah doch, wir haben Neil Autopsy Report. Kannst du dazu was sagen? Nope. Okay. Alles klar, ja, ist okay. Können wir talken? Nö. Move. Underground Parking Lot. Vielleicht ist Edgeworth jetzt da. High Prosecutor's Office. Ja, es passiert zumindest was. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? Sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Though, tough day in court, huh? Oh. I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you.
always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day.
Ist ja gut. Erzähl mal ein bisschen was.
There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I do can erase that fact.
But you didn't know, did you?
I mean, that the evidence was falsified. Police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. Police department's error is my error, my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same, no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth.
I take pride in my work, so tell me why. Why has it all come to this?
I mean, Edgeworth can keep this kind of emotion bottled up.
Are you up for the trial tomorrow? Huh. First last year's trial, now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this.
What do you mean?
The list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd.
After Neil Marshall was murdered.
Ja, ist ja gut, ich weiß.
I became prosecutor.
Moment. Dann stecke ich es nochmal ein. Zack.
I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing in my mind at the time.
Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time.
That picture, something seemed strange about it. Vielleicht weiß Edgeworth was davon. Okay, wir zeigen nachher das Bild. Kann ich es eigentlich auch so? Nee, ich muss sie wieder rausnehmen. Zack. Und wieder rein.
Could you tell us again about what happened that day?
The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony or attestation, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one.
Because you were awarded this?
Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department.
You finished up the office?
Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back.
Take something back?
This.
Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to this, didn't he?
Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. It's a story we heard yesterday.
So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to?
That's right.
Na dann, zeig mir mal das Bild.
This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall, he had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
Yes?
The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours.
Ach stimmt, ja, das hat noch ein Schwert. Yes, you're right. Ah, I remember now.
Remember what?
That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind this design.
A story?
That's interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. First means halberd, and the second means shield.
Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure, everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Fette music kriegen die hier. Long ago, in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. First was a halberd, he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. Second was a shield, he claimed could withstand any weapon. Okay, ist nicht schwer herauszufinden, wo jetzt die Contradiction liegt. Wait a minute. Objection! Those 2 claims contradict each other. Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard the story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, there are descriptions of these items. Discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and the broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. Ja, ich auch. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? I'll have to ask Chief Gant. 3 years ago he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant? Okay. Updated. 2 years ago the halberd was removed at Gant's behest, giving it its current form. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. Dann muss ich meinen Controller wieder rausnehmen und jetzt kommt wieder die geile Meldung Batterielisten nach. Nice. Okay. Gehen wir mal nach unten. Oh, hier passiert was. Angel, is that you? Excuse me. Ah, tatsächlich.
Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef?
Miss Star, I guess she's out of lunches.
You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked the cow's nipple to discover milk.
Okay.
Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago.
Everyone in this trial was involved in that SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence room from that case was due for transfer. This can all be attributed to mere coincidence.
Are you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness?
The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife.
No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten.
Star's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back 2 years ago.
Joe Dark, that's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half an year.
Half an hour.
Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was even more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell.
You mean because of his brother's death?
They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate.
Her?
Lana's guy. My sister. Best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo.
Lana and Chief Gant.
That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out.
You mean with the forging of the evidence?
Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you didn't have proof anything illegal was done. I had proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us safe Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana's guy transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. And I always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana's guy was merely being used as a pawn. Just being used? Damon Gant and Lana Sky. Gant led the investigation. With Lana second in command, they were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence, you mean? Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared to confront him, though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. And if it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There's only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, Rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been.
Alles klar. Damon Gant umso mehr fishy. Hat wahrscheinlich irgendwie Lana geblackmailt oder so. Um die Prosecutors zu kontrollieren. Um sie zu kontrollieren. Aber es ist immer noch die Frage, warum Angel gesehen hat, wie Lana Goodman umbringt. Vielleicht war sie es ja doch. Und Damon Gant ist da nicht betroffen. Aber hat sie vielleicht irgendwie dazu aufgestachelt? Oder? Ach, keine Ahnung. Wir werden sehen. Wir moven. Oder können wir die noch... Komm, wir präsentieren dir zur Sicherheit noch das Foto.
I don't have anything else to tell you. A star. The only thing I can give you now is a poppy seed rice set. Talk about cheap. Eat this and maybe you'll be able to tell black from white in court tomorrow.
Okay, dann hast du es mir hier wahrscheinlich auch nicht sagen. Nee, gut. Oh, ich kann das noch angucken. Huch. Name of the deceased, Neil Marshall, 27 male. Date and time of death, February 19, between 7 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Cause of death, a single stab wound, piercing heart and lung. Assessment, died from blood loss in under 10 minutes. Weapon found in wound was missing tip. Okay. Gut, dann moven wir. Ich würde sagen, gucken noch mal im Detention Center vorbei. Ist immer noch nichts zu sagen, ne? Stillschweigend wie eh und je. Und sie hat immer noch nicht gesagt, sie hat noch kein einziges Mal gesagt. Moment, meine Haare sind wieder im Weg. So. Sie hat immer noch kein einziges Mal gesagt, ob sie es getan hat oder nicht. Hat sie jetzt immer noch nicht gesagt. Warum? Zieht die Haare schon wieder geht. Was ist falsch mit euch? Geh doch einfach weg. So. Sie sind immer noch da. Ich spür's. Sie tanzen immer noch im Wind des Ventilators. Okay. So, Criminal Affairs Department. Ist Gumshoe wieder hier? Oder ist er jetzt gegangen? Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Also. Oh, that DJ. Got a minor persistency, but my answer's still no. Huh? I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. I'll be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's got to be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Haben wir jetzt das neue Stück? Ne, wir haben ja nichts Neues bekommen. Ah doch, warte, wir haben updated. Was wurde geupdatet? Irgendwas wurde geupdatet. Das... Ne, das haben wir von... Das wurde ja von Gumshoe, glaube ich, geupdatet, ne? Genau. Das wurde geupdatet, aber ich dachte, es ist nochmal was anderes geupdatet worden. Wir probieren es mal mit dem. Ja, das haben wir schon. Ja, okay. Ah, hier, was Neues. Say, this design is based on an old Chinese parable, right? Yeah, everyone knows that. There was this, dragon. Yeah, that's it, a dragon. He had the thing for shields, see? That's not exactly the version we heard. No, but this one sounds more exciting. Anyway, it's kind of gory after that. I'll spare the details. Okay. War nicht noch was? Kann ich hier das zeigen? Nope. Das nochmal? Nope. Sheesh. Wir haben immer noch nichts, ne? Talken können wir auch nicht, ne? Wir haben noch nichts Neues bekommen. Police Department Entrance? Hier ist nichts. Wenn ich gehe nochmal zu Edgeworth, aber da wird wahrscheinlich nichts sein, ne? Da kommen wir ja her. Ne, nicht talken. Da kamen wir ja her. Ja, talken können wir hier auch nichts, ne? Okay, was haben wir hier bei ihm gehabt? King of Prosecutors Trophy, das haben wir gesehen, ja. They have the crime tomorrow's trial. Wurde nicht noch was bei Angel Star geupdatet? Mann, mein Kurzzeitgedächtnis. Es ist nicht vorhanden. Was waren die Topics hier? Legendary Duo being used. Ich glaube, ich glaube, hier haben wir nichts geupdatet. Wir haben nur das erfahren mit dem, dass sie benutzt wird von dem Gant. Na gut, hier können wir auch nichts talken. Nee, okay. Ja. Das haben wir auch schon. Ja. Okay. Was wurde denn noch geupdatet? Irgendwas wurde geupdatet. Ich bin mir sicher. Kennst du das? Nope. Nein. Fingerprint set, Call ID Record. Ich zeige Ihnen das nochmal. Ja. Are you doing with that? Bla bla. Ja, okay, das hatten wir schon. Ach, Goodmans Autopsy Report, das ist neu, ne? Oder? Nope. War nicht da? Aber war nicht das? Nee. Ach nee, das war der andere Autopsy Report. This guy also made us lose the case today.
What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain on that evidence lock with his life. That's more than you can say about most officers nowadays. It would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well. I have to admit, he's right though. Thanks to the blue badge, we were able to prove another possibility today. Possibility that another murder took place prior.
Was muss ich dir denn zeigen? Ich mache jetzt hier einen auf den hier. Nein! Nicht einen auf den hier. Einen auf den hier. Ich zeige alles nochmal durch. Das haben wir vorhin gerade gezeigt, ne? Genau. Ash's Knife, bla bla bla. So, Ticket ist dann dasselbe. Blue Badge haben wir schon, das haben wir auch. Das Memo. Ups, nein. Cellphone. Sheesh. Okay. Das Foto. Anything details about this? Aha.
That Miss Star is quite a lady. Why, I remember it was winter. I was 16. You're the only one who ever got me to talk about what happened.
16? That's how old I am now. I wonder what happened. And one of Detective Gumshoe wore a trench coat in high school too. Okay. Gumshoe, bla bla bla. Und das haben wir doch gerade erst. Ja, ist okay, ist okay. Ja. Ja, du erinnerst dich und hast uns eh schon gesagt. Ja. Aha. Das haben wir eigentlich auch schon gezeigt. Bla bla bla. With someone else, someone with an executive number, bla bla bla. Ja. Fingerprint sets, bla bla, hey, der Powders, bla bla bla. Hatschu. Das haben wir dir auch gezeigt, das haben wir noch nicht. Oh, das Item Report.
You know that what it was right off the bat. Well, Master of Misplacement, you know.
Master, that has such a cool ring to it.
The way I see it, if things are meant to be lost, then they're meant to be lost. That's a higher power at work here.
Wow, a higher power. Yeah, we shouldn't let Emma hold any evidence. Okay, so Onyx, blah blah, evidence from... Sheesh. Nochmal Sheesh. Okay, wir open and Fingerprints, besides, das ist alles unwichtig.
Oh, or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives.
Hat es schon mal gesehen, so das hat er, glaube ich, gesagt. This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met.
Something about that makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me.
Chief Kent?
Where could I have seen that before?
Ah, jetzt. Gucke mal. Nee, oh, ich dachte... Sheesh. Habe ich das schon gemacht? Small Characters, ja, das haben wir schon gemacht. Nein. Das Video. Sheesh. Und den Rest sollten wir ja schon gemacht haben. Haben wir irgendwas Neues freigeschaltet? Nein. Wir haben doch schon alles gemacht. Hilf mir! Nein. Okay. Nee. Du meinst Attention Center. Können wir dir was von dem updated Zeug geben? Hier. Das wurde geupdatet. Nope, du bist auch nicht. Was wollt ihr denn? Mensch, Leute. Okay. Kann ich dir das zeigen? Ich glaube zwar nicht, dass ich mit dir was machen muss. Dann will ich nochmal kurz das hier. Okay. Also mit ihr, ich glaube nicht, dass wir mit ihr was machen müssen. Mit Agent bin ich mir sicher, dass wir auch nichts machen müssen. Ich will nochmal kurz, kann ich hier zum Entrance? Okay, hier ist nix. Ich kann mir nicht vorstellen, dass wir irgendwas examinen müssen. Warum auch? Wir haben auch keinen Hinweis bekommen zum Examinen. Underground. Und mit ihr... Sie sagt ja, sie hat uns nichts mehr zu sagen, wenn wir ihr irgendwas geben. Ja, I don't have anything else to tell you. Es klingt eigentlich recht eindeutig, dass wir mit ihr nichts mehr machen müssen. Aber ich gebe ihr trotzdem nochmal ein paar andere Sachen. Haben wir wahrscheinlich schon, aber hey. Kann ich mit Edge was machen? Nope. Okay. Ich habe echt keinen Plan, was wir noch machen sollen. Es ist mal wieder soweit. Oder soll ich das hier noch examinen nochmal? Is there something today that looked like this somewhere? Something that looked like that? Yeah, only different. Now, where was that? Achso, ja, das wegen der Geschichte. Different. Die Other Shield. Aber. Ja, das haben wir halt schon. Seine Sache haben wir halt schon herausgefunden. Deswegen. Okay, showing the best evidence. Okay, ja, das haben wir ja eben auch schon eigentlich gezeigt. Trophy, bla bla bla. Ups, hier auch nicht. Ich bin lost, Alter. Jetzt habe ich wirklich gar keine Ahnung mehr, was ich tun soll. Was soll ich denn noch? Hä? Ich muss halt Gamschuh irgendwas zeigen, aber was soll ich ihm denn zeigen? Ich habe ihm alles gezeigt. Moment, kann ich... Ach, ich kann noch checken. Kann ich hier irgendwas... Nee, ich kann hier gar nichts checken, ne? Kann ich hier noch was checken? Nee. Kann ich hier noch was checken? Das kennen wir eigentlich schon. Kann ich hier noch was checken? Das haben wir, glaube ich, schon gecheckt, oder? Look, there... Hard to make out, but there are some dark red stains here. Looks like blood. Do you think Detective Goodman's blood somehow got on this when he was stabbed? Not likely. This blood looks like it's been here for months, maybe longer. It shows evidence in the SL9 incident. Might be when the blood got on it. Ist auf jeden Fall offensichtlich, dass mit dieser Vase etwas ist, weil die ist auch im Bild. Das haben wir eigentlich auch schon gehabt. Weil die ist im Bild, aber ich weiß nicht, wie ich die Connection hier machen kann. Phoenix ist scheinbar nicht smart genug. Ich weiß echt nicht, was ich machen soll. Kann ich ihr was geben? Okay, du sagst nichts dazu. Aber ihr muss ich eigentlich nie was geben, oder? What was it labeled again? Yesterday night incident? Yes, the name of everyone connected to this trial is listed in here. All that's left is to figure out just what role everyone plays in this case. Ja, ja. This chart's pretty fragile. Looks like it's about to break apart. What do you mean, about to? It's already broken. I meant again. The piece was found in Detective Goodman's evidence locker. That means... this is somehow related to the other incident. Ja, aber... Leute, ich habe echt keine Ahnung mehr. Ich bin fertig. Ich weiß nicht, was ich tun soll. Ich habe echt keinen blassen Schimmer. Hallo. Oh. Was hat mir gerade noch gefehlt? Ja. Please, tu es. Kann ich mich ins Office reinlassen? Es ist offensichtlich, dass ich was mitgehabt habe, aber ich habe ihm doch schon alles gegeben, was wir haben. Ich habe ihm jedes einzelne Stück schon präsentiert. Was will er denn noch?
2 hours later.
Hinter Edgeworth, was man halt nicht sehen kann, ist dieses Stück Papier. I wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him, I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on, first let me see what that girl's doing crawling around my feet. Didn't even look. What? Letter of her... If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it out for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But, Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. Can't forgive myself for what I've done. No one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. Ja! Ja, wir haben etwas, um Gumshoe zu überzeugen, dass er uns helfen soll. Weil es uns sein liebster Edgeworth kündigt. Police Department. Batterieleistung ist nah, ist mir sowas von egal. Nimm diesen Letter und drück dir ihn in den Rachen. What's the scrambled piece of paper? Ich hoffe, es schmeckt. No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious?
I can't believe they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective? That's it. I've made up my mind. But... Here, take my ID card. We can't do that if someone found out. They wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. And after all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective. Thank you. Gumshoe's ID tucked swiftly into pocket. Police department ID card allows access to areas of the police department open to detectives. Chief's office. Finally sind wir wieder hier angekommen. Here goes Mr. Wright. Click. Beep. We're in. If anyone finds us now... Detective Gumshoe is a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Ah! Gah! Oh, is hat ihn geslapped. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. Didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Ah, Detective Gumshoe. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID card crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card! I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. Also, endlich können wir examinen. Nein, no clues hier. Das ist schön. Hier, ein Safe. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe? That word is a ripe of intrigue. Okay, if you say so. Looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. Uh-huh. 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Ja, ich auch. Oh, I know. I want to try my birth date. You want to try my birth date? It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Hahaha. Ding ding ding, bingo! What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 7777777. Final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 77777? That ID number? I think you're on 7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gann's ID number. Say. Anyone care to look inside? Ja, natürlich. Wenn wir schon drin sind. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a shot from a broken cup. This someone looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? Ja, das ist von unserer Vase. There's something else in here too. Fingerabdruck, Handabdruck. What's this? Looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh, well, it was just a thought. Is that it? Is that all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. Piece of cloth with a handprint on it, and a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. Are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's got to be something we can show the detective. Ja, das ist ja easy peasy. Present. Endlich mal diese scheiß Vase hier. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found? You mean this one? That was in the safe? Yes, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Assemble the fragments. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what your rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Muss ich jetzt das letzte Stück da reinmachen? Pack's doch einfach da drauf, Phoenix. Combine. Achso, rotate. Okay. Wow, war das schwierig. Hey. There. It fits like a charm. That of course means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But... Hey guys, get a load of this! What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? Okay, updated. Found in Chief Gant's safe. Blood traces. Okay, ich würde sagen, wir examinen mal ein bisschen weiter. Das ist ein Tisch. Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, it's you too, Chief Gant. What a paper he was reading in his desk. Ah. Ja, Phoenix hat ein besseres Gedächtnis als ich. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases the list runs twice as long as this though. Hey, look at the case name. Huh? SL9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said, I wonder what... No, about evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long. That's right, I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. Half-sized list of evidence. A list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here? Ach, das ist die andere Hälfte. I knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. Evidence list added to the court record. List of evidence in the SL9 incident was ripped in half, so this part is all I've got. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons. Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it, I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay. Shh! Be careful of what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out, you guys don't know how scary that guy can be.
Oh, das glaube ich dir. Die Orgel.
The chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear him playing from the criminal affairs department.
That's on the 2nd floor, and this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building.
When the detective screws up, the chief calls them into his office and makes them listen to the organ for hours.
Oh god. What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul.
After that, the detectives can't hear anything for days except the ringing in their ears.
It's an instrument of punishment, literally.
But aren't the chief's ears affected? He never listens to anyone anyway.
That's beside the point. Okay, wir können sliden. Das ist das Foto. Gucken wir doch das Foto mal an.
This was taken on that day 2 years ago.
The date showed Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma.
After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here. Then went along with Chief Gann to question Dark. And he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later.
Gee, you think? These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the shelf.
Hey, this is when Lana and I went to that theme park.
Oh. Fenster.
Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside.
This is the 15th floor.
I know, I was just saying.
Saying what?
Ever since making detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams. So long he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired.
Don't say that.
This was Lana's desk. It sure is tidy.
Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner.
There's not even any dust on it. Looks like someone's still keeping it clean.
Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Gann must still keep it in clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff legends are made of.
Does he keep it in memory of her or in memory of the crime? So, haben wir hier noch was? Orgel haben wir ja schon. Da ist nichts mehr. Gehen wir nochmal rüber, nochmal examine. Haben wir hier noch was vergessen? Hier ist auch nochmal ein Fenster.
Can see pretty far from 15 stories up. If you want to drop that suit of armor from here. At first the chief wanted to use stained glass for this window.
Really? Why didn't he?
He say he changed his mind because he wouldn't be able to see the view.
Oh, stained glass or not, it's a huge window. Dann können wir nochmal den Tisch.
Wow, look at the size of Chief Gann's desk.
Found this inside the drawer, a list of evidence from the SL9 incident.
Mr. Ashraf had the other half of that list.
What would this list be doing here? I better look a little more into this list. Können wir es angucken? Check! Okay, wir können nicht lesen, was da drauf steht. Kann ich das bitte... Ah! Okay. I wonder what this is. It looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here.
What is it? Did you find something?
Can't make it out. I'd better keep quiet about it for now. Ist das nicht die Zeichnung, die Emma damals angefertigt hat? Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing.
Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. Wright?
Better not forget about this picture. Okay, das ist alles. Ach, wir müssen ihm noch beweisen, das Stück Cloth, das Stück Leder. Woher das kommt. Haben wir irgendwas, was Leder... was Ledriges... Hier? Trägt hier jemand Leder? Neil könnte Leder tragen. Zeigen ihm mal das. Ah. Hm. Hm. Ach, es war noch ein Dings, ein Handabdruck war drin. Vielleicht können wir Fingerprints kriegen. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, no, I know what it is. So you want to take some fingerprints? It's a great idea, detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your head like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about the cloth we found in the safe. Oh, I knew that. One with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh. Where's his sense of humor? Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check out for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told that a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Also, wir nehmen einfach mal den Finger. Hui. Und dann müssen wir natürlich wieder ganz authentisch das Puder wegblasen. Ja. Noch ein bisschen. Bamsen. So. Es ist nicht Damon Gant, okay. Es ist Emma. Was macht Annas Handprint hier? No, how can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought it'd be Tark's prints. Psst, hey you, over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Here, maybe you should hold on to this. Okay. Piece of cloth found in Chief Gant's safe. Evidence for something. But what? Bears Emma's guy's prints. Okay, war's das? Können wir das hier nochmal zeigen? What is this piece of cloth anyway? It's moving. Sort of feels like vanilla. I think I've felt something like this before. Nah, I can't remember. Seems this is becoming a habit with you. Can't keep anything in my head lately. Note to self, Detective Gumshoe is going senile. Emma's fingerprints were found on this cloth. I have a bad feeling about this. Können wir vielleicht jetzt das Foto zeichnen? Weil es könnte immer noch Nils Jacke sein. Nope. Okay. Was ist denn mit dem... Ach, das haben wir ja schon, das andere Stück. Kann ich dir denn das hier geben? Feel a lot better now that this job's complete. But it only raises another question. What was a piece of it doing in the chief's safe? More importantly, why wasn't there any money in there? Is that what the safes are for anyway? I have a feeling the outcome of tomorrow's trial just might... Oh, jetzt hab ich's geskippt. Ups. Kann ich noch was talken? Ach ja, guck mal. The desk on the other side of the room. Was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now?
No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady, who's in here each morning.
Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it?
Why do you ask?
You don't think... you wouldn't be... No. There's no way. Never mind, don't worry about it.
Okay. Then let's look around a bit more.
Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy.
Huh? What is it?
When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that.
Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you?
You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you?
Well, what? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet.
There you go, ignoring me again. Well, was I any help?
Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. No, that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. War klar, dass er es ist. Isn't that right, you in the coat?
Ah, Chief Gant!
We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in science. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective.
Do you mean me, sir?
Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat?
Me, sir?
Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore.
But sir...
Now, get out.
Yes, sir.
We'll be on our way too then. Wait, you, the one without the spiky hair? Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright. Ist es okay, dass wir sie hier einfach so zurücklassen? Anyone? No? Findet niemand seltsam? Creep Alert? Im 15. Stockwerk?
Look, pal, I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. Chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you?
I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired.
Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I would have said it.
Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. But why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time?
Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the Chief again. Later, pal.
After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. Okay, zurück zu Lana. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here.
But I've already told you all I can.
What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Du hast immer noch nicht gesagt, ob du es getan hast oder nicht.
Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective...
Okay, doch, sie hat's gesagt. Stimmt.
I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman.
Stimmt, sie hat's gesagt. Aber wir glauben's nicht. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words.
Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right.
Edgeworth?
Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe.
That's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual.
What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person?
Protecting? No, I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence.
For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom, may I ask, is this person you're speaking of? The one I am supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name?
Ja, das Spiel sagt mir direkt, wer es ist. Take that! Well, Miss Guy?
Mr. Wright, you are addressing the Chief Prosecutor. Do not forget your place.
I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans.
My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective.
Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes?
His crimes?
Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence.
Of course, these are serious offenses.
Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned?
Chief Gant?
Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was...
me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation.
Yes, you, but also another, Damon Gant.
If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case.
Ja, die Liste zum Beispiel. I just found this in the safe in the chief's office. This sharp piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SN9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him?
Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised, I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder.
Why not?
Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate.
The murder of Detective Goodman.
Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you are not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. Finally. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. A murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. Ah, the knife from the SL9 incident, serial killer Joe Dog's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand.
And that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand.
Yes, it seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in.
Star, huh? Also hat sie nur die Leiche geschändigt.
Why did you need to hide Dog's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dog case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible.
So you hit Dog's knife? Die Batterie ist leer! Nein!
The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dog case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that.
So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe.
Right. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler.
You asked Emma?
I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this.
That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence.
Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day.
A bad feeling?
The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall.
To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him?
The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own.
Oh, you mean...
Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands.
Dann kam er hier rein, die Evidence zu stehlen.
He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared.
So a phone call caused the incident in the evidence room.
I'm afraid that's all I can tell you.
But Lana, you've earned my respect.
You've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now, please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow.
Tomorrow's trial is only one way to drive off Lana's demons. A
I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago.
To be continued. Puh. Da haben wir mal wieder einen Zweistünder. Aber ist normal so im letzten Fall und der letzte Tag der Investigation. Ja. Lana ist also definitiv nicht der Mörder. Das heißt, unser einziger Suspect ist und bleibt Damon Gant. Ist nur die Frage, wie wir ihn dazu bringen können, sich hier quasi zu outen. Beziehungsweise wie wir ihn dahin festnageln können. Ja, und warum Emmas Fingerabdrücke noch für eine Rolle spielen, das ist auch noch recht merkwürdig von daher. Und warum die im Safe waren vor allem. Ja, ich denke mal, wir werden vieles im Trial im nächsten Part erfahren. Von daher würde ich sagen, mache ich jetzt erstmal Pause und wir sehen uns dann beim nächsten Mal wieder. Bis dahin, macht's gut, Leute. Und tschö.